Good day, my friends, and welcome back once again to Brotherhood of the Bat Collectibles. And look at what I have surrounding me today. I've got two Batman, two incredible pieces from J&D Studio and also Prime One Studio / Blitzway. And I think that I might be the very first person on YouTube to compare the two. And I'm really excited to have both of them in the collection because I've been incredibly happy with my Blitzway piece, but I wanted to do something maybe a little bit different with my J&D. So I'm going to be comparing and contrasting not only the face sculpts, the unmasked portrait, the masked portrait, but also all of the details of both suits and which one has the better presence for the price especially. Let's go ahead and dive right in as we compare and contrast the Batman, Robert Pattinson. Here we go. All right, we're going to start with the masked portraits first. This one right here is the Blitzway. J&D on the other side. These are incredibly comparable. You have battle damage on both. You can see that the level of detailing on the Blitzway Prime 1 piece with the stitching. I think the stitching's a little bit better on the J&D piece. I think the eyes on both of them are very good. J&D uses the glass eyes, but I think that the Blitzway is really well done as well. In terms of skin texture, I think the J&D wins, but I still feel like the Blitzway still holds up as well. You know, I feel like really with the masked portrait, it's almost a little bit of a wash. Yes, you are getting a better detail on the skin, but I feel like the eyes are fairly comparable. I think the J&D is maybe a little bit more realistic, whereas these are most likely stickers on the Blitzway piece. I just feel like they are, they're both very similar in size, and each one alone looks great. So in my opinion, like when we look at the cowls, I feel like it's really kind of almost a wash. Whereas I feel like it's a different case in terms of the unmasked portrait, which I'm going to show you next. But I do feel like they're both really well done. Again, for me personally, the J&D wins because of the silicone. Like in person, it looks fantastic. But the Blitzway still holds up for me. And again, they're both very well done. So let me show you the unmasked portraits. All right, we're going to take a look at the heads side by side. And individually, they are both absolutely fantastic. They really are. I will say that the J&D in person, especially on camera, it doesn't always translate. We've said that a million times now, but it looks super real in person. I showed both of these to my family, and they all agreed that by far the J&D is the better of the two. Obviously, this portrait here looks fantastic with the Blitzway piece. And it's got sculpted hair. It looks really good. And it looks great on the statue. But you can really see a difference in terms of skin. Obviously, the J&D silicone, a lot more expensive. But I do feel like you could really see the difference in texture there. Whether, it's better or not. That's always going to be subjective. But I do really feel like, when you look at this, even though it looks kind of, again, creepy on camera, but in person, it works. You got the real hair, which not everybody might not like. But again, side by side with this, again, by itself, they both look great. But they're just different. But I think that they both look really well done overall. But you guys be the judge on that. All right, now it is time for the main event. We've got two statues, and this one right here obviously is the Blitzway. This one is the J&D Studios, and so we're going to compare and contrast them. When I first saw this particular piece back at San Diego Comic-Con, I was blown away with what I saw. My friend Jeff Delaney over at Secret Sanctuary, we both agreed that the statue itself was absolutely fantastic, and I still stand by that. This is one of my favorite statues in the collection. And so the thought of maybe getting rid of this one or parting with this one is very difficult for me. Then of course you have J&D, and the reason why I bought the J&D piece was because I have purchased some other ones. I've got stuff on my back shelf that I'm planning on displaying them all together. I like that it had similar bases, and so I opted for the J&D piece. But is the J&D piece better? This one retails for close to $3,000, whereas this one right here retails for around $1,600 plus shipping, right? And so we have to say, is this one drastically more better than this one, right? And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. Okay, we're going to start with the base, and we're going to kind of move our way up. So the J&D base obviously is just this low profile black base. You can see the difference in height. There's a little bit of a difference, not a ton, but the J&D pieces are slightly smaller than the Blitzway pieces, okay? In terms of the base itself, you have this great water effect, which I absolutely love. Definitely a lower profile with the black base. It's just simple, right? It's kind of a more museum pose, right? Or a museum base, I guess. It's not a pose, but it's a base. Then, of course, you have this base. Now, this base is incredible. This has so much storytelling going on. You have the little vials. You've got the light up feature. Let me push that button there. You got the red light up feature. You have the duct tape on the sides with the writing, you know, from the Riddler. It's just very well done. You got these side plates, you got the Batman logo. Without question, for me, this one wins. Like, this one wins in the base category. I love what they did with this. It's got really great weathering. Again, just tons of detail on this base, whereas this one, again, is very simple. But again, it's going to be subjective because maybe you like that look. Maybe you like that simplicity. And I do like that, but I do love the storytelling of this one as well. So, you know, I'm curious as to, you know, who do you think wins, okay? Then we have to start looking at the actual suit, okay? And I just did a review, and hopefully you guys had a chance to review that 4K review in terms of the suit. Now, I would say that slightly, this is a little bit lighter in color. Which I have been told, I just went back and kind of watched some reference material of the actual suit that Robert actually wore in the film, and I feel like this one might be slightly truer to the color, whereas this one's a little bit darker. But again, it's almost a wash here in terms of the paint. In terms of the actual sculpt, I think that there are some things that are absolutely better on the J&D. Let's look at this. You have the straps on his leg, okay? And then look at the straps on this leg. Looks good, but I feel like J&D got it a little bit better, right? Some of the texturing on, let me see if I can show you the texturing on that pouch, texturing on the Prime 1. Again, they're both really good, but to the naked eye, I feel like the J&D wins a little bit in terms of the accuracy of the suit, in terms of the texturing. An example of that would be like on the belt here. You can see the detail there. It's still there on the Prime 1, but it's maybe just not as pronounced. Same with like the belt items. Again, it's maybe a wash there. You know, the canister right there might be a little bit more accurate than this canister. Again, it's just really hard to say. Pouches look great on both. They're just different, you know? In terms of like the armor, I think that those are made of metal on the side. These are also maybe metal on the Blitzway as well. So again, lots of great detail. You see the detail on the side of the suit there. Same thing over here. Again, it's just I just don't know. Let's look at the boots. The boots on this one compared to the boots on this one. Again, it's just very difficult because this one's really good. And again, the Blitzway is cheaper, right? One thing that I did see that Blitzway got wrong is the color of this. This is actually dark. I went back and looked at the reference materials, and they did get this one right, because that was one of the first things I noticed out of the box, like, why is that not silver? But it's black in the movie. Let's look at the chest. One of the biggest nitpicks of the Blitzway piece is the chest sticks out a little bit with the way they designed the cape. And I agree with that. This is more flush. It's more accurate. It looks very realistic in person in terms of the fabric look. Armor on the shoulders. All right, let's come over here and look at the chest on this one. Again, incredibly well done. You can see where the emblem does stick up off the chest, right there. As we look at the details on the sides, again, that arm compared to that arm, shoulder pad to shoulder pad, cape material. This does not have the weathering like the J&D does, but it's still a really nice cape material. Hangs nicely, drapes nicely over the shoulder as well. Same thing with this one. You've got that great material, but again, this one's got a little bit of the actual brown weathering on the bottom. Very similar. The J&D one might be a little bit lighter in terms of weight. Kind of give you guys a side profile. So again, the chest emblem there, and then the chest emblem, a little flatter on his chest. Maybe looks a little bit better there. Obviously, the portraits are going to, we already did the side by side. Which one is more Robert Pattinson to you? Looks good. I'm going to kind of zoom back here and kind of show you both of them side by side, or at least as close as I can get them. All right, I'm going to take off the cowled portraits and show you side by side the unmasked. All right, so here is the Blitzway piece. They use a plastic material to do their heads, and obviously they've got the plastic hair. I think it's incredibly well done. Again, by itself, this looks phenomenal. When you have two next to each other, again, we're going to start kind of comparing. This one right here, some people have said this looks like it's kind of bug-eyed. In person, again, it doesn't really. Not everybody's going to like the hair, the real hair. You get kind of a doll effect with that. I don't think I would display it this way ever anyway. But just to give you an idea of kind of what that looks like with the whole statue. And then the whole statue there. So again, this is more realistic, without question. This one has more realism to it, especially to the naked eye in person. On camera, it's not going to come across. So if you think it looks decent on camera, you're going to be, it's like, 10 times better in person. And this one, again, if you didn't have one right next to it, this one looks great too. But again, I would never display them probably like this. I think I would always have the cowl on these statues. All right, so now we have to decide which one's better. And for me, I'm going to voice my opinion, but how you feel might be very different. The way we see these things are very different also. Okay, I know a lot of people that have this one, and they're incredibly happy, as they should be. This is still a phenomenal statue. I think one of Blitzway's best that they've ever done. I'm still wowed by it when I look at it. And again, the only reason I would maybe part with this one is because I want something a little shorter for my display, because I don't have a lot of tall shelves back there. So this was basically touching the top. This one won't. He's also hunched over a little bit. So for me, this one is going to win out for me, okay? Specifically because of the display I currently have. But let's talk about it. Base, this one, Blitzway wins, okay? In terms of accuracy of the suit, I think that J&D wins, but just slightly. Is this worth so much more money than this one? If you have this one, I think you're absolutely, completely fine. It is so well done. And if you don't have one side by side, but I do feel like this one edges it out just a little bit in terms of accuracy, in terms of the paint, in terms of the texturing. Okay? In terms of the portraits, I personally think that the portraits they're so similar for the mast that, again, I feel like it's a wash. This one, obviously, if you like silicone, if you want a little bit more, maybe a little tiny bit more accurate, then boom, this is your bogey right here. This still is very good on its own. And again, if you don't have them side by side, so it's just difficult because again, it's going to be personal taste. In terms of the unmasked portrait, I think the unmasked portrait wins hands down for the J&D. My personal opinion. But again, they're just both so darn good. So who wins? For me, the one that's going to stay in my collection is the J&D. It's because of circumstance, and it's because of the way it stands profile-wise. I like the idea of the bases matching with my Dark Knight pieces. I'm also going to be getting some of the Batman Returns pieces. I've got Bane coming from Dark Knight. So I like the idea of all the bases looking kind of museum-like in the back. I still like this base better, but this one, I feel like overall, again, for me, this is my winner, but I feel like overall for the price, you can't go wrong with the Blitzway. So again, this one is a lot more affordable if you can find it. Not very easy to find, but I still feel like this completely holds up. But for me, this is the better statue for me. And I think J&D, nailed this one. Love it. I think it's one of J&D's best, quite frankly. Absolutely. But again, they're both so darn good. So I'm going to let you guys weigh in. Please be constructive. Don't tear this piece down if you don't like the Blitzway. If you're a J&D lover and say, oh, the J&D is so much better, please say that. But don't tear down the people that have this piece. Okay? Because again, I feel like they're both unbelievably good. They both have incredible detail, unbelievable paint and craftsmanship. This one's silicone, this one's not. So again, you're going to have to kind of weigh it in for yourself. But let me know in the comments what you guys think. I would love to hear your thoughts about the comparison. Where do you think that J&D did it better? Where do you think maybe Blitzway did it better? I would love to hear your thoughts. Okay? And again, if you have either one of these, I said it in our private message group, the Rogues Gallery guys, I said, you know what? Whoever has either one of these wins because they're both fantastic statues. And that's where I'll leave it. All right? Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And I will see you soon in the Batcave. Bye, everybody. Man, oh man, you guys know how much I love my Redwolf Collectibles slab stands. Well, now they have something brand new that you can put right in front of your collectibles to display them however you want. Of course, they have all of the customizable nameplates and a really strong magnets. All of these that fit the slab stands also fit these plates, which is absolutely incredible. So what we're looking at here, you can see the Batman logo in front of my Batman statue. It's basically a way to display your favorite collectibles and tie it all in together. It looks absolutely fantastic. Of course, here's a Harley Quinn. It just adds a little something to your collection, and I really like the quality here. It's heavy duty. It's really well made. It's the same stuff that they use for their slab stands, but this is really just kind of like a nameplate. It's really well done, and I can't recommend these enough. Of course, you could use the existing plates that you already have, or you can order new ones. They all fit with the really strong magnets, and of course, please use code STATUE at checkout to save. I can't recommend Redwolf Collectibles enough. They are really awesome and they have amazing quality. Redwolfcollectibles.com. Hey guys, thank you so very much for watching today, and if you're new here, please hit the subscribe button right here on the screen and check out these two awesome videos. I think you're going to love them. And also please join us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. I would love to have you join in all the fun. Thank you guys so very much for watching. See you in the Batcave.